Hey folks, Wally DM here, and today we're going to take a look at a magical trap that has been placed on a chalice or a goblet. Now, this is going to be a trap that is kind of in the form of a cursed item, but the trap portion is going to come because we're going to put this at a point where the adventurers need it. It's going to have some types of healing properties, and they're going to be done fighting this big boss battle or combat encounter where they could use the extra healing. Today's trap comes from Traps, Trammels, and Triggers, and this one's called Unholy Blessing. So this is a trap that's actually going to affect a chalice. There is a type of a curse that's put on it, an unholy blessing, if you will. Now, in order for our characters to fall into this trap, they're going to need to be deprived of hit points. Now, I would probably give some rumors along the way that they hear that this chalice has healing properties. So in the previous room, I would say that once our adventurers enter this room, this is probably going to be our main boss battle or a very dangerous or deadly combat encounter, because the entire purpose of this setup is we need to drain the characters in hit points. The only way that they're going to fall for this trap is if they're going to need to be healed. And of course, I would probably make this at the end of a very long adventure. Perhaps they were exploring this abandoned or ruins of a temple looking for this chalice, and so they've gone through a lot of struggles and fights along the way. And of course, this is our last boss battle, maybe with some type of undead, maybe ghosts or golems or something like that. Up to you as the dungeon master to decide. But after the battle is over, we need them to find this secret door that's going to lead to the final chamber. So I would probably put this at a passive perception 15 or higher, and I'm sure one of your characters has at least that. So they'll be able to, out of the corner of their eye, they can see maybe some lines or maybe a little bit of dust or wind coming through here, and they'll be able to find the secret door. Now, once the secret door has been detected, they'll be able to go into the final room. Now, this is going to be a religious type of a room, and I'll leave it up to you as a dungeon master as to which deity that you would pick. Now, I'm probably going to run this as a good deity, maybe someone like Lathander or a god of healing, a god of the sun, something like that the characters are familiar with. But a lot of these items in here are going to be broken or maybe even desecrated. But of course, the primary objective is our trap, and our trap is this chalice that sits on top of this table or this altar. Well, now that I think about it, maybe not an altar. That seems a little bit too suspicious, but again, it's going to be up to you as the dungeon master. And I would even go as far, this isn't in the book, but I would even think of maybe a spirit or an angel-like figure is going to appear and is going to offer them this chalice, or at least point to it and say, you have fought hard, it looks like that you need some healing or a blessing, be sure to drink from the chalice to receive this, or something along those lines. So now if our characters want to investigate this chalice a little bit more, I would allow them a DC 15 Arcana check, and if they succeed on this, then they are going to realize that this vessel or this chalice is enchanted. And in fact, they can also determine that whatever liquid is filled, if it were to be drunk or to be spilled, then it would actually refill. Now, if they succeed by 5 or more, we'll make that a DC 20 Arcana check. Then they're also going to get that faint presence of necromancy magic. And if a character is going to cast Detect Magic, I would probably give them that. It's going to be a very strong enchantment school magic, but there is a hint of necromancy. Now, I would also consider having your spirit, if you're going to go this route, being able to be interacted with maybe on a limited basis, and they might be able to make an insight check to see if this spirit is being all forthcoming and truthful with them. And it's up to you. Maybe the spirit is. Maybe they only know of the healing properties, and as far as the spirit's concerned, yes, if they drink from this chalice, they're going to get some healing properties, which is correct. Part of our trap is to heal the characters. But if you want to make it more devious, maybe this is some type of an abyssal messenger or someone like that, some demonic force or spirit, then perhaps you can allow on that insight check that the characters can say, yes, they're being truthful with the healing properties, but there's also a little bit of mischievousness or maliciousness behind their intent. Again, totally up to you as a dungeon master. Let me know in the comments below how you would run this if you use this spirit in this trap. But let's get back to the trap as to how it's written in the book. Now, if any of our characters, let's say our wizard, decides to take a sip out of this chalice, and it's going to be filled with some type of water or wine, whatever you decide. And again, if it's spilled, it will refill. But if our wizard takes a sip out of it, then it's going to heal our wizard a d4 of hit points. Now, if our wizard takes a deep drink or drinks all of it, then they are going to be restored to maximum hit points, and they're also going to feel a boon that is going to give them a +2 to attack rolls, saving throws, and to ability checks. Now, with this in mind, our wizard's probably going to be like, hey, it's great, I feel awesome. They're going to watch the wizard's wounds go away, and some of our other characters may also decide to drink from this chalice to get their maximum hit points back. And of course, the rest of the party can visibly see that the wizard's wounds are healed as the maximum hit points takes effect, and they too might decide to take part in drinking from the chalice. However, after 1 hour from drinking from the chalice, that's when our trap is going to kick in. They're going to lose this +2 to their attacks, saving throws, and ability checks, and they're now going to need to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Now, for those that fail it, they are now going to be cursed. And part of this curse is they're going to have disadvantage on all of those attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Now, for any character that makes the saving throw, then they're going to be fine the rest of the way out. But if any of our characters are cursed, we're going to have a second level of this trap. And that is going to take place after 2 hours from drinking from the chalice. They're now going to need to make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw. Now, those that fail are going to start coughing up blood, and they're going to take 1d10 of necrotic damage. They're also going to still have the disadvantage as mentioned previously. Now, if they make this saving throw, they're not going to have the effects with the coughing up blood or the d10 of necrotic damage, but they're still going to be cursed with the disadvantage. Now, for those that have failed 2 saving throws at the 3-hour mark, so 3 hours after drinking from the chalice, they're going to need to make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw. Now, if they fail this, again, they're still going to be cursed. They're going to continue coughing up blood, and this time they're going to take 2d10 of necrotic damage. But for those that have failed the 3 saving throws, in addition to the necrotic damage, the blood that they're coughing up is going to form into a homunculus. And that homunculus is going to do 2 things. It's going to telepathically speak with whoever put the curse on the goblet. So we're going to go with some type of a demon, perhaps. So this homunculus is going to communicate with a demon and perhaps maybe even help summon it here. And the second thing it's going to do is this homunculus is going to attack whoever coughed it up. So if our wizard is the one that coughed up this blood that forms a homunculus, then it's going to attack that wizard. And I'll leave it up to you as the dungeon master as to what statistics you're going to give the homunculus. Now, if this homunculus is killed, then that is going to end the curse. And of course, for any level of characters being cursed, whether it's after the 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hour mark, these curses can be removed by a blessing spell, a remove curse spell, or any other type of healing or ability that you as a dungeon master will allow. So what I really like about this trap is it's basically a cursed item that we're putting at a position in the adventure or the gaming session where the characters need it the most. If they're to take a look at it and see that it has an enchantment, school of magic, and it has a little bit of healing properties, then they're going to fall right into the trap, which is to drink from the chalice. Now, in the Traps, Trammels, and Triggers book, there's actually 2 different variants, and I really like this for designing traps, being able to give you different options to use. In the Blessings of Night variant, the first failed saving throw has the victim become deafened, the second failed saving throw, they become blinded, and the third failed saving throw, they go into a coma for 24 hours, and even when they wake up, they're still going to have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws until they finish an additional long rest. The third variant is the Magi's Blessing, which is going to affect spellcasters more than anyone else. If they fail an intelligence saving throw when they cast a spell, they're going to expend a spell slot, the spell's not going to work, and they're going to take psychic damage. So between the three variations, I think there are plenty of different uses for this trap. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of this trap? Is this something that you would use in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? In particular, what do you think about using a cursed item such as this goblet or this chalice as far as a magical trap is concerned? Also, if you're interested in picking up this book, it's called Traps, Trammels, and Triggers, and it's on DriveThruRPG. I will put a link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.